1 second. Thank you for this opportunity to present on disability and work in the AI era. And guten Morgen hier and guten Tag oder Abend online. For those of you who want a visual description, I'm an older white woman with gray hair and glasses. In fact, I'm probably old enough that I could be old Jenny's mother. I'm going to tell you a more sobering story about AI than you've heard so far, because I need your help. Given the short time I have to discuss a complex but important topic, consider this the summary of what I have to say. Search for my very unique name online to find a more complete story. According to the US Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which is now, of course, under attack, over 90% of organizations employ some form of AI hiring tools. This has major implications for inclusive employment, especially as equitable employment efforts are being eliminated and made illegal in some countries, and employers are giving in to tyrannical bullying. We know that if you have a disability, the opportunities and risks of any disruptive technology are extreme. This is the case for AI as well. AI, at its most basic, is a statistical reasoning machine feeding on data. Artificial intelligence can be seen as a power tool, like moving from a hammer and chisel to a powerful motor. It can do the things that we've done before, but more accurately, consistently, and efficiently. AI is simply mechanizing, accelerating, amplifying, and automating existing patterns. It is statistically finding or producing the typical, the popular, the normative, the predictable, the statistically average. And disabled people are furthest from what AI is optimizing. We are the outliers or margins in statistical analysis. Let me explain. Over my 44 years in the field, I've been collecting data regarding what people need to thrive. The only way I can plot this data is using what is called a 3D multivariate scatter plot. Don't worry about the terminology. When you plot the needs, it looks like a starburst, and I've dubbed this the human starburst. 80% of the needs, the average needs, are clustered in the middle 20% of the space, and the remaining 20%, or the uncommon needs, are distributed in the periphery in the remaining 80% of the space. Needs related to disability are at the jagged edges of the star. Data points in the middle are close together, meaning they are more alike. Data points at the periphery, where you find the needs of people with disabilities, are further apart, meaning they are more different from each other. Because of economies of scale and conventions like the 80-20 rule that say to ignore the difficult 20% that take 80% of the effort, almost anything that is designed works for the middle, is difficult to use as you move away from the middle, and doesn't work for you if your needs are out at that jagged edge. This pattern ripples through every aspect of our lives, creating greater and greater disparity, whether it is in our designs, the products that make it to market, the knowledge we recognize as evidence, our education, which pushes towards standardized learners, our systems of employment, which attempt to create replaceable workers, and our systems of governance, which in defending democracy have often reduced it to one person, one vote, meaning that the critical needs of the marginalized minority are outweighed by the trivial needs of the majority. AI amplifies, accelerates, and automates this pattern using mechanized statistical reasoning. Any statistically determined prediction is highly accurate in the middle, inaccurate as you move from the middle, and wrong as you get to the edge where you find disability. The jagged edge is also where you find the greatest innovation and the early warning signs of risk to come. I don't want to minimize the extreme opportunities of AI. They certainly have been highlighted here. Even before generative AI could be used to generate speech, images, videos, and text, AI could be used to recognize and translate speech, gestures, patterns, find a target object or pattern, match and label objects, remember forever and remind on time, sort possible paths to find the optimum, detect common mistakes and correct them. Of course, AI is deployed as a powerful assistive technology and employment accommodation. New AI tools emerge almost every day. However, even these come with risks, including issues of privacy breaches, surveillance and manipulation, connectivity costs, and AI hallucinations that wreak havoc when you most need to trust the AI. Not to mention that AI has inverse benefits. It works the worst for people that need it the most. The people that are furthest from the training data, if your environment is poorer, if you use a minority language, if your speech is far from average, and it is often assumed that the problem is fixed by AI and no further accommodations are needed. And if you still have a problem, you are to blame. For those of you who can pass as able because of AI, please remember that some people are not as lucky, and there are employers who will want to deny this. When AI is used to make decisions, it is an infrastructure of statistical discrimination. At its most benign, it is like a form of digital eugenics that eliminates our differences, our quirky uniqueness, turning everyone into a replaceable average. This statistical discrimination is most dangerous when it is used to find, match, sort, label, measure, optimize, calculate, analyze people at scale. And these decision systems are deployed pervasively in almost every decision out there. AI decision tools are built to be biased against difference. Disability is difference, different ways of doing the job, different digital traces, different work and education histories, different social media topics, an entangled profile of many differences. AI is propagating the discrimination that was there faster, more efficiently, and more accurately. It is homogenizing toward work monocultures. And this is risky for employers and organizations because we know that monocultures can be destroyed by a single crisis. One of the most common uses of AI tools in employment is in screening large groups of applicants. AI systems are used to find applicants that match the predetermined optima using large data sets of past successful employees and hires. The result of current AI design is that the optima will never be a person with a disability. There are not enough successfully employed disabled people. Even if we hit our disability employment targets, because we are so different, there will never be enough consistent data regarding success to reach probability thresholds to make the cut in competitive hiring. Each data pattern associated with disability will still be an outlier or minority and will lack the probabilistic power. Beyond hiring, AI is used in recruiting announcements, interviews and assessment, productivity monitors and surveillance, promotion or disciplinary actions, and it is now present in nearly every digital workplace tool. How many of you have used tools that claim to make you more efficient and productive by analyzing your work habits? These surveillance systems provide more and more detailed data about employment, providing intelligence about the habits of the average successful employee. They also create more detailed ways to be different from the average success pattern. As AI gets better or more accurate in its identification of the optima, AI gets more discriminatory and better at eliminating differences. This harm has been there before AI. Statistical reasoning as the means of making decisions does harm. It does harm to anyone not like the statistical average. Assuming that what we know about the majority applies to the minority does harm. The measures needed to remove discrimination requires more than adding our data to the data sets, removing human bias, such as ableism from algorithms, removing stereotypes from labels and proxies, or leaving out markers of disability from data to avoid discrimination, which has been suggested by some employment equity organizations. Even if everyone with a disability is represented in the data, the AI decision system will still decide against difference or the outliers in the data. Even the systems intended to remove bias, reduce risks, and prevent harm use statistical reasoning. Disabled people are insignificant when determining impact metrics and thresholds, invisible or insignificant in error testing and risk-benefit and frameworks. Because people with disabilities are so different from each other, there is no bounded data cluster of disability to allow what is called cluster comparison for a legal claim of discrimination, unlike gender, race, or ethnicity. The specific risks to disabled people will be dismissed as anomalies and merely anecdotes, and we have an exponential increase of unfair decisions as people with disabilities are unfairly denied child custody, pay higher insurance premiums, are denied employment and university admission, are falsely flagged as security risks, and are ill or dying because medical calculators falsely are recommending treatment based on the average and fail to take disability into account. Not to mention the cumulative harm when every low-impact decision, such as media coverage, political platforms, marketing strategies, etc., exclude you. Also, while people with disabilities are most vulnerable to data abuse and misuse, privacy protections don't work. Most people with disabilities are forced to barter their privacy for essential services by agreeing to the terms of service. How many of you have clicked agree without reading the fine print? De-identification at source will remove, doesn't work if you're highly unique. You will be re-identified. Differential privacy will remove the helpful data specifics that you need to make the AI work for your unique needs. We need to go beyond privacy, assume there will be breaches, and create systems to prevent data abuse and misuse, and help people recover from fraud. So how are we addressing trustworthy AI, and how can you help? We're inverting the dominant algorithm, meaning we're turning the AI goal upside down when AI is used to make decisions and offer choices, from what is called data exploitation to data exploration, from favoring the average to favoring diversity, finding missing perspectives, increasing novel choices in hiring tools and academic admissions. This also supports greater innovation. And creating tools to reduce harm by signaling when an AI decision tool will be wrong or unreliable because the person being decided about is far from the average in the training data. We are creating a language model for people that need it the most, individuals who are non-speaking, who use a symbol-based semantic shorthand to communicate, starting at the edges rather than the middle for greater innovation. And we're addressing the lack of protections for people with disabilities in regulations with a regulatory standard for the Accessible Canada Act called the Accessible and Equitable AI Standard to be released for public review this week. This will hopefully be referenced in the EU as we have European representation in the committee as well. However, the greatest opportunity of AI is that it provides a magnifying mirror that by its amplification of past patterns offers us an opportunity to rethink where we are headed as a society. We are rethinking work from extractive, exploitative systems that squeeze productivity out of replaceable workers to systems of cooperative mutual care that invest in optimizing the potential of all workers. The question is, can we leverage this disruption to sustain and grow pockets of hope in a more equitable future of work? Please join us. Intelligence that works with the edge of our human scatterplot is better able to adapt to change and respond to the unexpected, detect risk, will reduce disparity, and may hold the key to our survival. And thank you, and I would love to continue the conversation.